Right now, if you're doing things right, AI is making decisions on your behalf. Here's the problem. It actually doesn't know what you believe. Now, I realize it knows what you tell it. That's not what I'm talking about. Chances are your AI knows absolutely nothing about your value system, your principles, what's most important to you. And you spend some time thinking about that. That is terrifying. Let's fix it. In this video, which I honestly think is the most important video I have recorded to date, I'm going to give you a 3-part framework that changes this. You will walk away knowing exactly how to give both your AI and your team the judgment they need to stop guessing and start deciding. Everything I'm about to show you, you can implement today. Let's dive in. If we haven't met, my name is Kasim. I'm a welfare baby turned self-made multimillionaire, and I help entrepreneurs like you who already have a real business but are looking for smarter ways to grow in a post-AI world. Because in a post-AI world, the playbook has changed, and nobody told us. Now, I have helped thousands of founders across every industry you can imagine, and I can tell you right now, most of those founders have the same invisible problem. They're trying to figure out how to run their business using AI, all the while their AI is running on someone else's values. And interestingly, so is their team. Today, we fix that, at least for you and I. Let me show you exactly what's happening in your business right now. You have 2 bottlenecks, not one, and they're connected. The first one is obvious. It's you, and you know that. You're the bottleneck for why. You're the only person in your business that knows where the ship is going. You know what the rules are. You know what you actually believe. You know what the business should be doing, but nobody else really does. So every decision that requires judgment comes back to you. Every question, every what should I do here? Every is this okay? Can I spend this money? What do we do about the thing at the time, at the place, at the thing? It all comes back to you, right? And with all due respect, you built it this way. Not on purpose necessarily, but you did build it. You built a business that requires your heroism to function. And in so many ways, it's admirable. You want to be the hero. So do I. So do we all. That's what entrepreneurship is. You want to give. You want to serve. But you end up building an entity that allows for that, maybe to an excessive degree. And because the only place your judgment lives is inside your head, people have to come back to you for your judgment. That's costing you massively. As a matter of fact, every single time someone pings you with a quick question, especially those that are beneath your pay grade, you lose focus. And it doesn't just cost you the 30 seconds that it takes for you to answer that question. Research on cognitive interruptions shows that recovering full focus after a disruption takes an average of, wait for it, 23 minutes. Can you believe that? 23 minutes for a 30-second question. Now, if you're getting 5 of those a day, which is conservative, you're losing almost 2 hours of deep work daily. Every day. This is why you get to the end of your day and you're like, where did the day go? It went here. This is where it went. This is the black hole of your attention. Now, that's the first bottleneck. Here's the second one. And this is the one that no one's talking about yet. They should be once my YouTube channel blows up. Your EA is waiting. Your team is waiting. Your vendors are waiting. Your AI is waiting. They're all waiting for instructions because they don't have your judgment. They only have your projects or your tasks. So no instruction comes. They do what most people do when they don't have guidance. They guess. But here's what makes the AI situation worse than the EA situation. Your EA is guessing, but more or less with a blank slate, and they know you. So if they don't know exactly what you want, they improvise, and at least their guess is anchored to what they've observed working with you. It's imperfect, but it's grounded in some semblance of reality. Now, your AI is not guessing with a blank slate. It is making decisions based on the values, beliefs, frameworks, and assumptions of every piece of content humanity has ever published. Every business book, every blog post, every LinkedIn thought leadership piece, every corporate framework. This is your AI's moral and operational compass unless you tell it otherwise. Really think about that. Your AI is making decisions based off of the aggregate average of the lexicon of human intelligence. And unless you love all of humanity and agree with everything that everybody's ever said, I think you should put some guardrails on it. So, when your AI writes a client response, it's being professionally diplomatic, because most business content teaches professional diplomacy. And when your AI creates a proposal, it's being comprehensive and polished, because most business content rewards polish. And when your AI sets a priority, it's optimizing what seems conventionally important, because that's what the training data says matters, none of which might be what you believe. Maybe you believe speed over polish. I do. Maybe you believe blunt over diplomatic. I know people that do. Maybe you believe protecting the founder's time is the only non-negotiable. Your AI has no idea. It's running on someone else's default, someone else's values. And the scariest part is that it sounds reasonable. That's what makes it dangerous. As a matter of fact, my experience is AI makes you second guess yourself. If an EA comes to you with an output, good, bad, or indifferent, you're wired to critique it. So if you see a bad output, you can correct it. If AI comes to you with a bad output, in so many ways, we're actually wired to accept it, especially if we can't tell it's bad, because all AI values feel plausible. It passes the sniff test, so you ship it. And slowly, invisibly, your business starts operating off of values that you never chose. Now, here's the question I need you to sit with. What does your business, let's say your business was an entity, what does your business actually believe right now? Not what you want it to believe. not what you believe. What does your business, the entity that is your business, what does it believe? Based on the behaviors of every person and system operating inside of your business. For most founders, the honest answer is, I don't know. Because they've never written it down. They've never made this decision. Alignment is permission. That might be one of the most important sound bites in this video. Alignment is permission. So if your executive assistant knows your mission, your vision, and your values, really knows them, they don't need to ask for permission anymore. The answer is already in the system, especially if you've done it right. They stop being a task runner asking for approval, and they start being a decision proxy, executing your judgment. Can you imagine? Doesn't that just feel better even to think about? Now, that's just your EA. What about your AI? When your AI has your mission, your vision, and your values loaded as operating context, it stops running on the internet's defaults, and it starts running on yours. You're not giving away control when you document your judgment. You're installing it permanently. You're not loosening the reins, you're extending them. Your reach gets longer, not shorter. That's the reframe. Now, here's the homework. Part 1, the mission. The textbook definition is actually what we're setting out to do. The functional objective, the job to be done. But here's what that actually means operationally. And this is the part the corporate world always gets wrong. Your mission is not a tagline. It's not some garbage poem printed on the back of the wall behind the reception's desk. It's a filter. The job of a mission statement is not to inspire your team at the all-hands meeting. The job of a mission statement is to give your team and your AI an automatic no for everything that doesn't belong. Here's a good test to use. If you were forced to eliminate everything, every product, every client base, every service, every project, every initiative in your business except one, the one whose survival would most move your primary goal forward, what would that one thing be? Whatever your answer is, that's your mission. Not the inspiring version of it, the functional version, the filter version. Let me show you what this looks like with a real example. All right, let's say that you run, I don't know, a high-end executive assistant placement firm like Proto Talent. Your mission might be something like find elite operators in emerging nations and connect them with 7-figure businesses that have overwhelmed founders. And that's it. Functional, filterable. Now, watch what happens when a vendor reaches out to your EA offering a partnership. Right? They want to build a job board for early stage startups. Your EA doesn't need to ask you. The mission filters it instantly. Startups aren't 7-figure businesses. Job boards aren't placements. No, next, move on. Without the mission, your EA either says yes to the wrong thing because it sounds like progress, or they ping you because they genuinely don't know if it's relevant. With the mission, the answer is already in the system. Now, let me show you what a bad mission looks like, because most founders write these and they think they're done. We help businesses grow. This is not a filter. That describes almost every business on earth. Your EA can't make decisions based on that, right? We create world-class experiences for our clients. Yes, thank you very much. Same problem. It's emotionally resonant, maybe, but operationally useless. We're committed to excellence and innovation. This is wallpaper. It might look good in the lobby. It's not going to help your EA say no to anything. The test for a good mission is this. Can your team use it to reject something without asking you? If yes, you have a mission. If not, you have a tagline. Now, here's the other thing the mission does that nobody talks about. It helps you identify other opportunities. It can actually help you find your rocks, risks, and reaches. If you don't know what those are, I shot a whole video on that. Now, if you've engaged with my content before, you know that I actually don't believe in the one thing paradigm. In a post-AI world, I think businesses should be diversifying like their lives depend on it, because they do. But that's what's beautiful about a mission. It helps you, your team, and your AI focus on what's actually important, the desired end result. I want to help overwhelmed founders, and I want to help people in emerging nations. How I end up doing that, to be honest with you, I'm wide open. But I know what my mission is. My mission is to help people in emerging nations find meaningful work, and my mission is to help overwhelmed founders grow their business. From there, I can pursue any opportunity I want. So when you're using your AI to generate ideas, explore opportunities, research directions, AI is extraordinarily good at surfacing possibilities. The problem is, AI doesn't know which possibilities belong to your business. It'll generate 10 compelling options that all sound viable. But without a mission, you're back to being the filter. With the mission, you hand the filtering job to the framework. Prompt your AI with your mission and ask it to filter its own suggestions. It'll do it reliably because now it knows what matters. As a matter of fact, it's probably better at it than you are, because AI has a lower propensity for shiny object syndrome as soon as it has constraints than an entrepreneur ever will. Before we move to vision, take a minute to do this right now. Don't overthink it. Answer the question out loud or in your notes, or talk to your AI advisor, whoever it is that you like to chat with. If you had to eliminate everything except one thing, what would survive? I'm not asking you to pick a service. I'm asking you to pick an output. What's the thing you want to do? I want to help overwhelmed entrepreneurs, and I want to help people in emerging nations. And I want to help them by connecting them. That's the mission. And for me, that feels compelling. It wakes me up in the morning. It keeps me up at night. What's your mission? What do you want to do? Write it down. Part 2, vision. Now, the definition of vision for me is just what things will look like when you get there. The critical distinction between mission and vision, because most people conflate them, and it breaks both, is mission is what you're doing. This is what you're setting out to accomplish. Vision is what you'll have when you're done doing it. Mission is the engine running right now. Vision is the destination the engine is pointing at. And you need both. Now, why does the distinction matter operationally? Because tactics change, tools change, markets change, especially now. Team members come and go. What the mission is doing today might need to look completely different in 18 months, but the destination usually doesn't change. And that's the delegation gift of vision. When a path gets blocked, a vendor falls through, a strategy stops working, a tool becomes obsolete, your EA shouldn't ping you and ask you, now what? What do we do? They should look at the vision and ask, which new path gets us to the same destination? That's a completely different question. And it's one they can answer themselves, hopefully. Let's make this concrete. I'll give you my vision. I want to help 1 million people around the globe achieve the 3 dimensions of freedom. That's freedom from limitation, freedom of purpose, and freedom to evolve. Now, what happens when an AI tool rolls out that nullifies the value of one of the roles I'm placing for? My business doesn't die because my business isn't tied to any specific role. It's tied to helping people achieve freedom. And I'm helping people achieve freedom on both sides of the aisle. I want freedom for my entrepreneurs and I want freedom for my executive assistants. So we pivot and we look for roles that are still valuable so we can still continue to live into our vision, still help the executive assistants in emerging nations, and still find tools and resources for our entrepreneurs. And my team doesn't need me to do this, right? The vision gives them the evaluation criteria to make decisions and seek out opportunities. Now, let's address the most common mistake founders make with vision. They write it for the pitch deck. A pitch deck vision is to be the global leader in the next generation of talent solutions, empowering the workforce of tomorrow. That's not a vision. That's a sentence designed not to offend venture capital. A vision you can delegate to should be specific and, to be frank, it should be inspiring. You want people to be able to use your vision to guide their actions and their thinking. Here's the thing about vision that most founders resist. Writing it requires accepting a destination. Jordan Peterson says most people are afraid to document their goals because they're afraid to define the conditions of their failure. Founders are wired for optionality, which is great. They like having doors open. Committing to a specific vision feels like closing doors. It's like betting on one path before you know which path will work. And if you know me, again, in my content, I'm all about optionality. But the options that you're looking at should still lead to a vision, because the cost of an undefined destination, it's not about optionality, it's noise. It's every undefined choice that creates a decision that comes back to the founder, to you. Not having a vision doesn't keep your options open. It just means that every option passes across your desk and then you have to close them all yourself. Take a minute and define your vision. Again, you can change it, you can modify it, you can iterate on it, you can evolve it, but having something in place gives you the opportunity to do that. Part 3 is values. Now, I need to stop you before you do what every founder does here. Do not write integrity, excellence, teamwork. I knew you were about to. Don't do it. Those aren't values. Those are table stakes. Every business claims those. They're on the wall of every company that's ever filed for bankruptcy. They mean nothing. And they mean nothing because they cost nothing. Here's what I want you to think about. Real values are trade-offs. A value only exists if it has a sacrifice attached to it. If following the value never requires you to give something up, if it never costs you anything, it's not a value, it's a preference. Let me show you what a real value looks like. Speed over polish. That's a real value. It means when your EA is preparing a document, they send the draft at 80% rather than waiting for perfect. It means when your AI is generating content, you'd rather it be fast and functional than slow and flawless. It means if a client is waiting for a response, a good answer now beats a perfect answer tomorrow. But there's a trade-off. The sacrifice is that sometimes things ship imperfect. Sometimes you get a typo in a proposal. You accept the cost because you've decided speed is the value. Now, your EA knows what to do without asking. Do I send this now, or do I wait until I fix the formatting? Send it now. Speed over polish. That's the value. Your AI knows too. When you prompted to generate a proposal, it knows not to spend more compute refining. Just ship it. Here's another one. Protect the founder's focus at all costs. There's real value there. Every decision your EA makes, they ask, does this protect your focus? Does it route something to them that I can handle? If they can handle it, they handle it. They don't ask, they decide, and they inform. The sacrifice is that sometimes they make a call you would have made differently. You accept that cost because being interrupted is way more expensive than the occasional imperfect execution. One more. Transparency over comfort. There's real value there. It means that when your AI is giving you an analysis, you don't want it to soften the bad news to make you feel better, which it will do, by the way. You want the honest read, even if it's uncomfortable. It means that when your client manager is reporting to a client on a situation, they give them the real state of the situation, not the version that protects their position or retains the client. That's the question you have to answer. Do you want truth over retention? The sacrifice is that sometimes things get harder. Sometimes you lose the client. Sometimes feedback stings. You accept this because the clean information is more valuable than comfortable information. You see the pattern? Every real value has three components: the belief, the behavior it drives, and the sacrifice it requires. Now, here's how values function differently from mission and vision in the delegation system. Mission is a filter for what to do. Vision is a filter for where to go. Values are a filter for how to do things. Make sense? That means values operate at the ground level. Every single action your EA takes, every output your AI generates, passes through the values filter. They're not strategic, they're operational. They're embedded in the execution layer. This is why I say values are your judgment algorithm. If someone on your team hits the mission but violates a value, they completed the task but they compromised the relationship to do it, or they hit a deadline but cut the wrong corner. That's a systemic risk. The mission doesn't protect you from that. Only values do. And here's the AI application that most people haven't realized yet. When you load your values into an AI system prompt, you're setting behavioral guardrails at a model level. You're not just telling it what to do, you're telling it how to think. Here's a concrete example. Same prompt, two different system contexts. Without values, write a response to this client who's unhappy with our timeline. Your AI writes something professionally diplomatic, mildly apologetic, and hedging on future commitments. That's what the training data has rewarded. That's the internet's value of corporate conflict resolution, right? With the values loaded, specifically transparency over comfort and speed over polish, same prompt. Write a response to this client who's unhappy with our timeline. Your AI writes something direct. It acknowledges the real situation without excessive apology. It gives a concrete next step. It doesn't hedge. It sounds like you. Same prompt, completely different output because the values changed the operating context. This is what I mean when I say your AI is running on somebody else's values by default. The output sounds professional, but professional isn't the same as you. Take a moment here and think. Think about the last time you looked at something your team or your AI produced and thought, it's not quite how I would have done it. Something felt off, but you couldn't articulate exactly why. That gap between what they produced and what you would have produced is usually a values gap. It's not a skills gap. It's not an effort gap. It's a values gap. Write down your values and use the format. Value over what? Right? Value over what you're sacrificing. Make them real. Make them cost something. If a value doesn't cost anything, it's not a value. If it's free, it's not a value. Here's where this stops being a framework and starts being a system. The fourth piece, the one that converts mission, vision, and values from a document into a delegation engine, is the handover. Now, here's the problem with most mission, vision, and value exercises. They do the work, they write the document, they feel really good about it, and then they file it away somewhere. And 6 months later, their EA is still asking the same questions they were asking before, and their AI is still outputting the same generic results. Why? Because the document never got operationalized. It never got connected to real decisions. The handover is how you bridge the gap between the document and the reality. When you're done with it, take your mission, vision, and values document and load it into every AI tool you use regularly. Not as a one-time prompt, as standing context, your system prompt, your custom instructions, the persistent layer that shapes every output the AI generates. Why wouldn't you do that? And don't just paste the document. Tell the AI how to use it explicitly. Something like this. You are operating as a strategic partner to me. Your output should always align with the following mission, vision, and values. When generating options, filter them against this framework. When writing communications, match the tone and priorities reflected in these values. When evaluating decisions, apply these filters before presenting recommendations. That instruction set changes everything. Your AI is no longer a tool you prompt reactively. It's a system operating with your judgment embedded in its baseline. Your AI stops being generic, not because it got smarter, because it now has your context. The outputs start sounding like you made them because they're filtered through what you believe. And you stop being the bottleneck, not by giving up control, but by installing control everywhere. Your reach literally extends to every decision that runs through your team and your tools without requiring your presence in each one. Here's the thing I want you to hold on to. What you call intuition's not magic. It's a series of fast filters that you've developed over years of making decisions, learning what works, and clarifying what you believe. And it is compressible, it's transferable, it's installable. The only reason it hasn't been installed yet is that it's never been written down. Today, that changes. Here's what I want from you. Before you close this video, what's one value that already runs your business even if you've never named it. The trade-off you actually make, even if it's never been official. Drop it in the comments. Inspire other people that are watching. I'm going to read every single one personally, and I'll tell you if it's a real value or if it's still wallpaper. What I just gave you, I think, is a complete alignment architecture. Mission, vision, values, and the handover. I've spent years building and refining this with thousands of founders. If this was useful, subscribe. I build frameworks like this every week, specifically for founders who already have real traction and want more leverage. If that's you, you'll want to be here for the next one. And if you have a business partner or a co-founder or an operator who's still chief answer officer in their business, send them this video. This is the kind of video that's worth more if two people watch it together. Now you have the foundation, mission, vision, values, and handover. But having the framework is one thing. Building the actual delegation system around it is an entirely different thing. And I built a complete delegation system breakdown in this video. If you're serious about going from chief answer officer to the founder with actual leverage, watch that one next. By the way, did you know that every video I shoot comes with assets? My team takes the ideas from the videos and they turn them into first principles documentation built specifically for AI. That's frameworks, resources, and training documents that you can use to train custom AI tools, custom agents, and agentic workflows around the things that I'm teaching. If you want free access to all of it, join my free forever community. The link is in the description.